The last decade has been an exciting time for Singapore cinema. From Ilo Ilo, A Yellow Bird to Apprentice, Singapore films have travelled far to top international film festivals like Cannes and the Taipei Golden Horse Awards in recent years. Singapore is making its mark again at the 22nd edition of Busan International Film Festival. 667 is Singapore's first dialect anthology, where each film is tied to one of the 5 main dialects spoken in Singapore. Wesley Leon Aruzu's I Want to Go Home is a story about Japan earthquake survivor Yasuo Takamatsu, who has been diving faithfully every few weeks in search of his wife. Set in Thailand, Popeye tells the story of a man tired of his urban life and sets out on an unexpected journey with his childhood elephant. For Kirsten, choosing to co-produce with Thailand came naturally.
I went to Thailand to live for close to 2 years. I go from one place to the next, and so I feel like it's quite almost like natural for me to want to do a road movie. So then when I started writing this, like I would just write down the initial images I have in my head, and all these memories of Thailand kind of surfaced. And so really it was just making sense of what I saw in my head and then trying to build it into a narrative. For me, the road came first, followed by the elephant and then the man. And these days, it's almost, I guess, like fashionable or maybe like expected of filmmakers to do autobiographical films. In some ways, the most girl power if a girl does a film whatever she wants and not just do another girl movie.
We had the opportunity to catch the world premiere of I Want to Go Home.
How did you feel when you first found out the news?
I thought it was actually like I couldn't believe it because I thought it was some kind of prank because I didn't think it was possible. But it took me a while, and then when I had the official letter, and then it eventually sank in that okay, this is kind of real. So I was really happy. It was really good. The Korean audience were really friendly, really curious about things, and always asking questions.
I think they look out for documentaries about stories from Asia. Stories about the lesser known stories that we have around. So they're not looking for the more commercial stories, stories which everyone knows of and would be on television. So they're looking for the smaller stories around the world which might get forgotten. I think having co-productions, especially with other countries, is helpful because in Singapore we don't have that many organizations that do funding. In fact, it's just one. So, for example, my film is funded by Tokyo's FilmX Next Master Support Program, which is an organization in Japan. So that helps a lot. So for young filmmakers out there who are looking to make their film, and if they have trouble getting support from home, or they need even more support than what is given at home, then they can turn to organizations from our neighboring countries in Asia especially.
In the 80s, it was slowly, you cannot hear these dialects in Singapore anymore. So this is quite a first time that we have a dialects film in Singapore.
Despite having all the different stories in all the 5 directors, right, there's always a common thread throughout the whole film. And somehow dialects are always linked to the government control. For example, my film, there are a loss of all these cultural places. Putting it on Busan International Film Festival and letting a lot of people see, it's really something that is very refreshing, and it's very good for us filmmakers and Singapore as well in general, because it shows another side of Singapore that might have been forgotten all this while.
A lot of Asian filmmakers want to premiere their films in Europe, not in Asia. Like you'll see filmmakers giving priority to Cannes, Berlin, Venice, Sundance, Toronto, but the big Asian festivals like Busan or Tokyo always play second fiddle. So I think that's where Busan occupies this important position, of really elevating it to a status such that actually Asian filmmakers will want to have their world premiere of their film here.
I think right now Singapore International Film Festival is still trying to find its footing. It has done really well since 3 years ago, like in terms of, I guess, pulling together filmmakers from Southeast Asia. It feels very much almost like a node where Southeast Asian filmmakers come, and for me it's a very nice homecoming every time I go back to SGIFF, but probably it still doesn't have the size or the clout of Biff, and I think that would take a while for it to grow to that size.
having your film in a big festival such as Biff would help me out a lot in terms of perhaps credibility. You get to meet different kind of people at the festival, people whom you could collaborate with in the future. So that's I think the opportunities that comes from this festival are pretty great.
Such opportunities may come to Singapore one day. For Singapore International Film Festival, Festival Director Pimpaka Tawira has announced plans to emulate its festival after Biff. It is with high hopes that Singapore will be a globally recognised hub for Southeast Asian cinema in the future.